From fighting his whole life with a serious chronic condition and almost being forced to quit MMA entirely just a few fights into his UFC career, to completely tearing down all of his opponents and even former world champions of the UFC, Khamzat Chimaev has established himself as a ruthless destroyer who just wants to kill everybody! So much so that he's now got beef with some of the biggest stars of the UFC, and fighters are clearly scared of him because many have turned down a fight against him. However, he may have also just found himself the toughest fight of his career. Chimaev is a wrecking ball of fury who started training at the age of 5 in his native Chechnya, winning a bronze medal at the Russian National Championships at the junior level, which is a massive achievement in a region where every second guy is a Sambo or wrestling world champion. And what's even more impressive is that Chimaev did it all with one functional nostril. Now, most of you already know that Chimaev has a visible scar on his upper lip, but do you?
I don't know how I got these scars.
The story behind it is that Chimaev fell down a staircase when he was just 2 years old, and not only did he bust his lip open, but also badly injured his nose, which is why he can't breathe through his right nostril. At 18 years old, Chimaev joined his brother in Sweden, where he continued his wrestling journey, winning the Swedish Freestyle National Championships in 2016, 2017, and 2018 with an undefeated record of 12 wins and 0 losses. A few years later, Chimaev discovered MMA after watching Conor McGregor's knockout of Jose Aldo while working a night job. Sometime later, he signed up with the All Stars training facility in Stockholm, where he impressed everybody by pushing guys like 3-time UFC light heavyweight title challenger Alex Gustafsson to his absolute limit.
I play sport with a lot of guys who just laughing and joking around and having a good time. But this guy, when it comes to sport, it comes to sport. It doesn't matter if it's me or if it's another guy. He just goes.
Within months of training with Gustafsson and company, Chimaev was ready to pursue MMA, and he started his journey in amateur circuits. Since each of his fights was a one-sided beatdown, his coaches quickly found out that he was levels above the competition he was facing, so he turned pro in the summer of 2018. Chimaev's first 4 professional fights were total blowouts, with a second round and 3 first-round finishes. In only his 5th professional fight, Chimaev faced Ikram Aliskerov, a multi-time combat Sambo world champion with an 8-0 record in MMA at the time of the fight. Given his credentials, the Dagestani was considered Chimaev's toughest test, and he certainly held his own in the wrestling department. But on the feet, it was a different story. Within half a round, Chimaev blasted Aliskerov with an uppercut from the deepest pits of hell to send him to a place where time does not exist. At 6-0 as a pro, Khamzat entered the UFC welterweight and middleweight Shark Tank, guns blazing on Fight Island, as he decimated John Phillips in his debut, submitting him after a round and a half of mauling. The striking differential was 42, with Khamzat landing 43 strikes and his opponent landing a grand total of 1. A few days later, Chimaev was back in action as he mauled Rhys McKee, and this time without absorbing even a single strike, all while setting the record for the quickest turnaround between wins in modern UFC history.
Where is the ceiling for you? Where is your limit?
I don't know, but I can fight after 1 hour, maybe. If you give me one fight, if somebody injured, just tell me. I'm here.
Khamzat's 3rd UFC win came a couple of months later against veteran Gerald Meerschaert at UFC Vegas 11, where the Wolf put his handiwork on display by baptizing his opponent in Sin City, and that too in only 17 seconds. Dana White was over the moon for having signed Khabib's evil twin.
I've been in this game my whole life. I've never seen anything like him. He's special.
After a fiery start to his UFC career, Khamzat was booked against the guy who currently holds the welterweight belt, Leon Edwards, but unfortunately, he had to pump the brakes because of COVID. Chimaev's bout with the virus was tougher than any fight he's ever had. He had severe breathing issues and had to undergo surgery because of it. At one point, doctors went as far as speculating that he had cancer, which left Chimaev dejected at the point that he shocked everyone by announcing his retirement. Luckily, he took a U-turn weeks later after his condition improved, but even on the sidelines, he stayed in the news for various reasons, most notably for beefing with Team Khabib in the summer of 2021. The feud started when Khamzat said something about tearing Khabib Nurmagomedov apart in an Instagram live Q&A session, which caused a massive social media war between the UFC's biggest star and Khabib's cousin, Abubakar Nurmagomedov. More than a year later, the two almost brawled in the crowd at UFC 280, which forced Chechny's most powerful man and head of the Chechen Republic, Ramzan Kadyrov, to intervene and put an end to the rivalry once and for all. Chimaev's feud with Team Khabib came as a surprise to many, especially given the claim that he allegedly flew to Dublin sometime in 2019 to smash Conor McGregor for dragging Khabib's family and religion through the mud during the UFC 229 pre-fight press conference. But that just shows you how unpredictable the guy is. You never know when he'd snap, and that's one dangerous man. Anyway, after his lengthy bout with COVID, Chimaev returned to the cage at UFC 267 in October 2021, facing the tough as nails Li Jingliang, who many thought would test Chimaev, especially after a lengthy layoff. The Chinese star was nothing more than a ragdoll as Chimaev grabbed him and held him up in the air like a child while scolding Dana White, who was using his cell phone cage side instead of focusing on the fight.
Is he f***ing awesome?
Once Chimaev slammed the leech onto the mat, he squished him in under 4 minutes, landing 25 strikes and absorbing 0. A few months later, Chimaev faced the toughest test of his career in the form of Gilbert Burns at UFC 273. The two went toe-to-toe and blow for blow, battering each other for 3 rounds, with Boers doing just enough to win. Despite a tough test, Chimaev was over the moon because someone finally showed up.
Now I'm blooding. I'm tired. I feel a little pain. I love the
Chimaev's next fight was business as usual. At UFC 279, he was supposed to main event against Nate Diaz, but a 7-pound weight miss got him demoted to the co-main event against Kevin Holland.
Hey, this is Chechen, motherfucker. Shut up, guys. And I'll you boy up. I'm backstage as well.
And just like every other fight, Chimaev mauled Holland and submitted him in 2 minutes and 13 seconds before moving up to middleweight, where he was most recently booked to face Paulo Costa at UFC 294. The Brazilian, unfortunately, had to pull out due to gruesome staph infection, making way for former welterweight champ Kamaru Usman to step in on short notice. The fight between the two phenoms was highly competitive as Usman had more success on the feet, but Khamzat shocked everyone by manhandling Usman on the mat, even with a broken hand. It was a very close fight, but Chimaev won by a majority decision because of his wrestling and control. To put Khamzat's supernatural wrestling ability into perspective, Usman, an NCAA Division II national champion, had a 96% takedown defense before fighting him. He had only genuinely been taken down just once, but Chimaev took him down 4 times and controlled him for 7.5 minutes. That's exactly why nobody, or at least 99% of fighters, avoid Chimaev.
The guys speak a lot of trash talk, a lot of about me, and I don't want to fight you, I want to fight you. When it comes to the fight and sign the contract, they everyone want to run away.
Not Israel Adesanya though.
Trust me, I'm not scared of no one on this planet. No one. And also, guess what? I like a challenge.
Adesanya might get a chance to challenge himself at UFC 300, where he's rumored to lock horns with Chimaev, although it's pretty much up in the air at this moment. If it happens, it'd be some fight, and if the Wolf manages to maul Izzy, that'd be one more reason for UFC fighters to be scared of Khamzat Chimaev. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel and check out another one here.